Elsa has an April Fool's joke to tell everyone.
You ruined it! Ring, 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 hello, simps. Virgins?
Don't say it.
Vegans?
Oh my god. What?
Why are you ruining my intro again?
The joke is coming.
You are the joke. Welcome back.
Get out of here. That was disrespectful.
Welcome back to Krown's magical, very sexy, extremely seductive, The Dancing Cave. Also today, Krown will quit YouTube.
The fuck was that? The fuck was that? That was the worst intro ever. Oh my god. I'm so sorry about that. I'm so sorry that everyone had to be subjected to that. That was terrible. I was told that this was going to be a very funny and highly sophisticated, intelligent joke. Apparently, the April Fools was just a mean put down. Anyways, we do have plenty to talk about today. Not just with the short-term timeframes, of which the short-term timeframe range was broken, of course, and we did initiate targets down to the $44,500 region where Bitcoin kind of sits at right now. But the big focus, of course, is on all of the higher-term timeframe closures, of which we had a daily, 5-day, and most importantly, a monthly and a quarterly. Now, just as like a general sort of knowledge thing, whenever you do see selling into the close of a monthly or especially a quarterly, not a good fucking sign. Not a good fucking sign. But I do want to offer up a bit of a nuanced look on price action today. As always, I want to make it as streamlined as possible, so we'll get into it soon enough. But man, I need to sip down on some of this caffeine coffee, which I have quite a fair bit of. And also, we started watching this documentary last night. I'm curious if anyone remembers this back from 2018. This is now, if you're from like 2017, 2018, you might even be considered an OG at this point. But basically, it's a documentary on the Quadriga exchange where basically the owner exit scammed, which is fucking insane, man, because they had like big money on that exchange, especially for the time. Man, the whole story, we're about like halfway through it, so don't spoil it for us. But if you have already seen it, but man, if you're looking at it, or if you're looking for a bit of an interesting watch, it's called Trust No One. So let me take a few more sips of this and maybe we can get into that. I'm curious though, if anyone remembers that from those times. What's up, Sinegra? Did you see the GameStop news? No, I didn't, but hopefully back down to where it belongs. Just kidding, man. Although probably serious as well. But here we go. Little sippy sip. Was about to spoil it, says Skylar. Great. Thank you for not doing that. But I'm sure it's not going to be a big deal. We're about like halfway through it, I think. So yeah, man, it's fucking insane. Like, you know, he had this exchange. For anyone who doesn't know the story, this was like the biggest exchange in Canada at the time in 2018, I believe. Yeah, 2018. This was coming after that that major parabolic run to $20,000, where Bitcoin basically did the majority of it in just like a couple months. And then Bitcoin crashes after that down to like $3,000, $4,000. Anyways, during this time, that was like thought of as a legitimate Canadian exchange. Now, it's very fucking funny because one of my good friends, a member of this channel, he's Canadian. He was kind of messaging me. He's like, this exchange, there's something weird going on with exchange. And I'm like, all right, well, whatever. Like, it's Canada. I don't fucking care. But he's like, there's something weird going on with this exchange. And then slowly but surely the story started to come out. And now the documentary is really starting to tie in a lot of the loose ends that I kind of had in my own mind. Anyways, for those wondering, the sort of setup with it is this Canadian exchange was essentially, you know, acting as an exchange like a Coinbase, right, where people would put in fiat currencies and then get their Bitcoins or whatever shitcoins, you know, they wanted, right? And basically what happened was the owner died. We don't know if he actually died. It sounds like there's a lot of ambiguity around that in a very strange way. It said that he died from Krown's disease, which from what I understand, and I'm sure other people can probably verify this out there, is it's not really something that you die from, especially at a young age, which he was certainly on the younger side. I think he was around 30 or so, which would be quite unlikely. Very, very, very low probability. I'm sure that it does happen, but quite low probability. And he was the only person who had the keys to the exchange, meaning that he was the only person who could, you know, move money from it. Anyways, as I sip this one down. Stay in May, sell another day. Is that the way this is going to work out? Hey, what's up, pre-crypto workout? What's up, man? Good to see you, brother. Another OG of the cave. Yeah, it's been a while since I've covered Coinbase. We can actually look at that today. That would be an interesting one to look at. But yeah, to finish the story, basically what happened is after he died, again, we're not really sure if that actually happened, but it seems quite unlikely. He was the only person who had the keys, and so all of the people's money who was theoretically on that exchange was lost. Like, because, you know, if you lose your fucking keys, it's gone. I mean, there's no way to get it back, basically. Anyways, some forensic and analysts who understand, like, you know, how to analyze on the blockchain did a lot of really interesting research onto it and found out that when people were sending their money or sending their crypto to that exchange, Quadriga, it wasn't actually on the exchange. They were all just, you know, numbers on the screen, but they didn't actually exist on the exchange. So you'd send like a Bitcoin there, for example, and you'd think, oh, I have my Bitcoin on this exchange. It shows it on the, you know, on the profile page right here, but it actually didn't go to the fucking exchange. What it was going towards was other exchanges. So this whole time, for like the multiple years of operation for this, you know, for this exchange, there was nothing even fucking on it. It was just going to other exchanges, and this guy was, I guess he must have planned this out like well in advance, man, which was really fucking interesting because that same guy who I told you about earlier in this community, he actually had met the owner of that exchange a few times. They both lived in Canada, and so like he had some meetups or something. He was like a quite popular person in the crypto scene there, I guess, and so he met him a few times, and he was telling me like he would have never guessed this guy would have like had a scam like that, but he must have planned it around that time as well. And he said something to me because I texted him last night after watching this, being like, hey man, do you remember this? And he said, and I said, did you notice anything weird about this guy? Anything kind of off the beaten path about this guy? And he said, no, actually he seemed quite normal, and I think that's why he was able to kind of dupe everyone. Fucking insane, man. Fucking insane. So yeah, if you're looking for a little bit of entertainment, that would be a rather interesting one that's perhaps relevant to your interests. Anyways, I'm going to sip a little bit more down on this caffeine, and then we'll get right into it, my friends. Maybe UFOs kidnapped him, says Elsa. Possibly. Also April Fool's, so I don't trust anything that you say. Anyways, the movie gets a few more twists soon. Wow, holy shit. I was not expecting that. Mr. Dingo ate my Satoshis. Great name. Is my last video, yes. April Fools, there you go. Hey, what's up, Capotico? Oh, you want Michael was also part of Time. Is Michael the name of the guy? I know that there's some sort of debacle going on with that time ticker. I'm not aware of it though. Hey, what's up, African Crypto Warlord? What's up, man? Good morning to you. Javatization, says Jev, another OG of the cave, man. Fucking lovely. Fucking lovely. And Willis, what's up, man? Smash the like button. Yeah, man. If you wanna hit the like button, if you find this content interesting or perhaps even valuable, then it is very much appreciated. Of course, you don't have to do anything that you don't want to. And April Fool's, motherfucker. Almost an April Fool's bull trap. Close, but I don't think we're there just yet. I still stick with what I've been saying for the past week here now. Below about $44,500 on a higher term time frame closure. Yeah, I do think that we're going to see some pretty significant downside. Other than that, I think that this was actually just a short term time frame move and probably should bounce here actually. Anyways, Snorts line and 100x. There you go, man. No better way to spend your first April day, my friend. Anyways. Oh, wow. Okay, so Capotico's saying that, yeah, he's the person who Quadriga was actually registered to. Oh my fucking god. So that guy also rugged Time, aka Wonderland. Oh my god, dude. I had no idea about that. Okay, so that's I'm wondering if that's going to be in the documentary as well. Yeah, it said that he died in... Hey, what's up, Faraz? Talk about fucking OGs of the cave and a good friend, man. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, it said that he died in India. You can get a death certificate for like $35. Yeah, that sounds about right. So it seems like he kind of exit scammed, and I guess he just got to kind of walk away with, 200 million, I suppose. I mean, how are you going to find this guy? I'm sure someone could probably find him, but man, what are you going to do after that? Does he even still have the money? Like, who the hell knows? And then distributing all that, it's like, that's a nightmare, man. But this space has come a long way in the past few years. Still has a long way to go though, as well. Krown's and Coke don't mix well. I'd imagine so. I imagine most things don't mix too well with Krown's disease right there. Actually, I need to turn back on the alerts over here, so we are good. Morning from Canada. Speak of the devil, man. That might just be him, Mr. Scott Demores. 200 million. He had a huge target on his back. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be some people after, or certainly people after him. Yeah, but I don't know, man. Like, how would you find a guy like that? There's got to be some sort of trail, though, because, you know, as I'm sure everyone here knows, anything that you do on Bitcoin and most cryptos is quite literally an immutable public ledger, meaning that there will be a you can't obfuscate. Am I saying that word right? You can't fuck with the trail. Like, there's going to be some trail. There's got to be somewhere. So hopefully have the coins move. That's the thing, Dodgymon, is that they never went to the exchange, so there's no like centralized area to really track them from. Like, that's the fucking craziest part of the whole story. The money was never on the exchange. The money was never fucking there. Did I see the ruble V bottom? Yeah, I did, man. I did. I actually had a friend here in Helsinki, one of Elsa's girlfriend's boyfriends, who like immediately called that too. I was like, nice one, man. Fucking nice. Anyways, hey, what's up, Crypto Yellow Vest? Good morning to you, man. Good morning to you. Alrighty, I think I just got a couple more sippies here, and then we're right into it. Obfuscate. Yeah, there we go. Aerodyne. Oh, if I say that it's April Fool's after the joke, then it doesn't work. What about before then? This will be an April Fool's joke. Alrighty, here we go. Okay, I'm ready. All right, here we have Bitcoin starting off with the most important piece of information, of which has been a rather important warning signal, all things considered, in the past week or so here, and that is going to be the global open interest represented on the Krown chain application. Of course, you can get all of this data for free in the link in the description below. If you go down here to the hourly feed, which is available for premium, we can see it's actually a little bit lower than where we're at on the daily feed for right now, but the big piece of information here was that we are starting to see a pullback after, you know, kind of hitting extremes, and that is to be expected. The question now, and the question that we're going to try to explore during this video, is going to be how severe should we expect this pullback, and where are sort of the major pain points. Anyways, for right now, what we should probably be aware of is that, you know, anytime that we have seen in the past couple of years here, Bitcoin's open interest get above 14 billion, keeping in mind that open interest represents leveraged positions, it has led to, you know, on average, or at least minimum on average, about 20% moves to the downside. Theoretically, you know, you could see these moves also happen to the upside as well, but it has been the history that all these moves have happened to the downside. Anyways, I'll give you a few examples right here to kind of put this into context. The last time that we saw it kind of around those deeper 14 billion numbers was actually in April of last year, when Bitcoin was at $65,000. Compare that where Bitcoin is, you know, kind of in this last little rally up to about $48,000. Quite a big differential right there. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, hammering the leverage a little bit hard as usual. Anyways, to also put this in perspective, the last time we saw it around these levels, more recently, excuse my caffeine burp right there, was in November, late November, when Bitcoin was trading deep into the $50,000 territory. So with that in mind, you know, if we do see an unraveling from this region, which I would not say is my main sort of ideas just yet, but if it were to happen, you know, we are going to be looking at some pretty significant downside. So I do think that it's relevant to be aware of, as we've been saying for the past couple weeks here, since this really started getting some critical regions, but I don't think that's actionable just yet for the higher term timeframes. Now let's just oppose that against the short term timeframes. Oh, should also mention the leverage ratio. Again, you know, we're kind of calling this out the past few days as well. Some of the highest levels that we've ever seen, in fact, although it did dump off a little bit there. So that is, I guess, a little bit of a consolation prize. But now let's go to the short term timeframes over here. So yesterday I didn't really say too much about the short term timeframes. Most of the focus was on the higher term timeframes, which we're going to get to soon enough. But on the short term timeframes, we did say, hey, any sort of an hourly closure below this region, it's just above $46,000, very likely initiates a move down to the bottom end of this blue box territory right here at about 44,500. We have gotten that move. Happened quite fast actually as well. It doesn't always have to happen that fast, but I would be looking for a bounce from this region actually on the short-term timeframes, regardless of kind of whether I'm bullish or bearish here. So let's put things into perspective. You know, Bitcoin over the past I don't know how long has this been, about 2 weeks, over the past couple weeks since middle of March has gone on, almost a $10,000 tear to the upside without any, major pullbacks. This is your first 8% or so pullback. Let me actually confirm that. Let's see, from top to bottom, about 8.25% pullback after basically a 40% or so move to the upside, or sorry, I'm way off on that one, about 30% almost. From the most recent low. And, is it relevant to be looking for a pullback from there? Is that like a death sentence in and of itself? No, it's not. But I want to be very specific with today's video in the sense that, hey, when you do incorporate the global open interest over here and realize that, there very likely is a major unraveling at some point, I do want to offer up a pain point for where I think that would very likely be, and in this case, it's actually quite cut and dry. In this case, I do think even a higher term time frame closure, not necessarily a daily, but like a 5-day closing below about $44,500, probably does start to initiate that. If I'm looking at a daily, theoretically, I could hold off until about $43,500 in this case, especially seeing as we do have the silver cross in the daily over here. I look at that as active, and pullbacks are kind of likely after you get a cross like that, but you do not want to see it close below, especially the 55, but even the 21 is kind of, makes it quite iffy, and it does start to look a lot more trappy at that point. And then we have to start to consider what would a potential 20% move from top to bottom look like here, and that would bring Bitcoin back down to the bottom side of this range that Bitcoin's been living in for the past 3 months, or actually, I guess, a little bit more than 3 months now. Somewhere down into the $38,000 to $37,000 region over time from there. Until that happens, though, I do think that it's reasonable to think that Bitcoin plays out a short-term pullback right here. Very, 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 very likely bounces on the short term, as we said right here. Then I look for momentum oscillators on this pane to kind of judge where I do look for potentially a low in this case. In this case, we do see 6 hours stochastic momentum is nosediving as long as Bitcoin's below 47.3. Obviously, that's going to change in the next closure, but for right now, coming down pretty damn heftily, as is the 4 hour. $46,000 can be the pain point right there. 3 hour is going to be showing about 45.5, and hourly is going to be showing up actually above 44,650. So what does this likely align with? Probably aligns with a little bit more short-term sideways, if I had to guess, something like this, and then very likely a bounce. Problem is that we have a weekend coming up, and anytime that I see a weekend bounce after a Friday sell-off, which to be fair, it's not, we haven't seen the end of Friday just yet, usually not the best sign, but I would not really consider that I would not really consider that Bitcoin's done anything of specific interest on the short-term timeframes, not for the love of God before getting above about 45.5, but let alone it's really like about $46,500, kind of that breakdown point that we saw back on over here. As long as Bitcoin's below there, short-term bounces are just corrective moves, and corrective moves within the context of this current trend would be implying actually more downside, or at least another try down around here. So I would be cognizant of that. Until then, I would give Bitcoin a chance, and if Bitcoin starts to trade back above and close even medium-term timeframes above about 46,500, I would say that is going to start to confirm this is your next major low. In this case, a higher low after a nice reversal, and Bitcoin probably does play at those upside targets. Here's the thing, though. I was looking for some pretty obvious signals coming into today. These signals that we've kind of been preparing for over the past week, given the monthly closure, they have not been confirmed with yesterday's sell-off right before close. The big one for me, or one of the big ones for me, was the monthly, was monthly hidden bullish divergence right here. It had a potential to confirm it yesterday. Bitcoin needed to close above about at minimum $46,500, preferably above 47. Obviously, that didn't happen, and so there's no hidden bullish divergence confirmed. So that is it's technically not like completely, it's not that it's fully invalidated. It was never validated, but that is no longer a point in favor of the boo laws for continuation into April. On top of that, what also is rather concerning here is on the fundamental chart, of which I want to reference the accumulation distribution indicator. We did actually get a negative slope coming into this new month of April, after having our first positive slope in a long time for the month of March. So I do look at this as obviously not in the boo laws' favor, but it's a long month to go, and you actually can't really judge these until literally the last day of the month, because there is a lot that goes into it. But in this case right here, I keep on pulling it out and trying to see if there's anything that is of interest, historically speaking, towards this current region right here. I do think the only thing that kind of fits that bill is actually this area from November 2016, and September 2016, that is, where we did see a slope change in the very shallow regions of this. Now, that did eventually lead upwards and onwards on price action right here, kind of correlated towards the same area. But it did speak towards, a multi-month correction. So is that potentially what we're looking at right here? Well, if this month actually does close with a downward slope, no, very unlikely. We probably do see it correct all the way down to at least the red zone. But for right now, another thing that could have made calling for more upside into April a lot more easy, but that alongside our other signal, is just not going to be there. And then the last point, the very, very big last point, Elsa's like... she's got some on her phone over there. The last very, very big point over here, or actually two last very big points, is the 5-day. So remember, the 5-day BBWP was running a lot of the analysis for projected targets to come, likely in the next 40-ish days, let's say, referencing this chart right here. This one, if you do remember it, the problem with the last 5-day closure, which we did have last night alongside the monthly and quarterly, is that it no longer has a positive slope. So we're not seeing expansion just yet. Obviously, that can change on the next 5-day closure, but until we get an open and close on a positive slope above the moving average, I can't really call that just yet. So this signal is actually still baking, and to look at the historical results from this, which on average produces a 45% gain or loss from that expansion point, is still going to be relevant to either think about the upside or the downside. And to take this even one last step further, if seeing as we do have a Friday closure today, and if this does happen, I'm probably going to start to lean a lot more on the bear side, or at least, a lot more sooner rather than later in this case, would be if the weekly does confirm hidden bearish divergence, which actually, as of right now, we can't do on CME. So, hey, there you go. There's a little bit of a consolation prize. I'm curious if it's relevant on spot. It is relevant on spot, but in order to confirm this as hidden bearish divergence, we need to confirm a weekly lower high right here. And the only way to do that as of right now would be close this week anywhere below, basically anywhere below like $47,000, and then next week trade below the low of this week, which so far is about $44,000. Until that happens, that signal is obviously not activated, but does deserve a bit of what's it called, acknowledgement there. Anyways, until then, I do think that, at least for myself, I'm probably going to be waiting for the higher term time frames to kind of resolve in this case. And in the meantime, just realistically doing what I only do, which is trade the short term time frames. so fair enough in this case. Going back again here, short term time frames kind of wrapping it up. A little bit of sideways and probably a bounce into the weekend. I do think that 45.4 to 45.5 is rather likely. Other than that, I just look at it as a range play, and I would not call this your next higher low with continuation targets higher, up into the $50,000 plus region, until we do see at least a medium-term time frame closure, and preferably a higher-term time frame closure of about 46.5 or so. Until then, any bounce is just another lower high, but and I would not, and by the same token to the downside, I would not confirm major, major downside until at least we're getting like a high term time frame closure below about 44.5, or a daily below about 43.5 in this case. If one of those two things happens, well, very likely looking at a move back down to the mid to upper $30,000 territory in the following weeks. Until then, I still look at this as probably, let's give it a chance first is kind of what I'd say here. I don't think I need to say anything more than that. Anyways, hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Bitcoin, SIRS, and ZERS. Nice one, man. Hi, Philson. Spanner? Oh, Spanner. Yes, I thought you said spammer. No, there he is. What's up, Philson? Good morning to you, man. All right, cool. Let's see. I think I also turned off did I turn off the lights? No, they're right there. It's all good. I'm going to finish off the rest of this caffeine, and then we'll get right in. Is Elsa the Quadriga owner? That's right, man. Get her. She has all of your 200, I think it's like $200 million. So she's probably spent it all on stupid fucking bags. And look, she doesn't need any more goddamn bags, because I have to tell you something very important. Stop donating to the fucking Prada Fund. The reason why is because she goes and gets these stupid bags, and then she goes out. She goes, like, we have a beach that's maybe a 2-minute walk from our place, and she goes out there with her stupid fucking bag and a magnifying glass, and she starts analyzing every rock in the sand, and she's like, oh, is this one sharp? No, is this one sharper than this one? And then she collects about 50 to 100 of the sharpest stupid little rocks that she can find, and then she comes home with a smile on her face and dumps them all over my fucking side of the bed, and I'm tired of it. I'm fucking tired of it, man. It's disgusting, and it really pisses me off, honestly. Think about that. You're getting ready to go to sleep, you're closing your eyes, and then all of a sudden it's like, what the fuck is this rock doing in here? Can you stop collecting and distributing the rocks into the goddamn bed, for the love of God? It's like really annoying, really, really awful. Anyways, yeah, so that's enough of that, and I'm gonna burn all your bags. Crypto Yellow Vest says, I'm so happy to be Signal. I understand, sir. I understand. You don't have any rocks in your bed now, do you? Yeah, she's accumulating rocks and then distributing them all over my side of the bed. Like, what the hell, man? It's not as bad as food crumbs. That is actually quite gross as well. Rock bed builds character. So this is not the Flintstones. I don't know what you're talking about, man. All right, let's get into the comments over here. I think Mr. Ahmed is first. He's looking at AVAX hourly and 4 hour. And thanks, man. I appreciate that, sir. Sure. Let's see what AVAX doing over here. Let's see AVAX. Getting a little bit of a pullback to the end of my blue box. It looks like we're still kind of playing in here. I know you asked about lower term timeframes, but I'm just curious what the higher term timeframes look like coming after yesterday's monthly closure. I'm not getting too much from this. Again, all of the obvious signals I'm not getting just yet, except for the 5-day, of which the 5-day actually does still say that this one's okay. I do think it's going to try again to the upside, basically. Oh man! Here we have Avalanche symbol AVAX versus the dollar. Elsa is left in the background because she's very disrespectful, but that's okay. It's April Fool's, and we are going to be looking at AVAX on the short-term timeframes first and then bring it over to the higher-term timeframes. In this case, 4 hour, we do see that it's played to the bottom side of our blue box territory after a little bit of a stutter step outside. That was not confirmed on a daily closure, so that was not a range resolution just yet. If we do get that same sort of confirmation above about, 97.5 or so, whatever this wick high is over here, I do still look at a technical target basically around the prior highs in the following weeks as, I guess, relevant in this case. I mean, this would just still be continuation, but I want to offer up a very big invalidation for both the short-term timeframes and then the higher-term timeframes, in this case, the daily, which would imply, well, I suppose, major downside. First and foremost, for the short-term timeframes, looking at about 88, 88.80 in this case. I'm actually going to get rid of this for right now. It's not relevant to the short-term timeframes, so let's go over here and be looking right here. Any sort of even an hourly closure below about 88.85, and I would be looking for AVAX to come down and test around the daily, the major daily region, which is in the low $80 region, about 83.5 to 85 or so. And at that point, I would be looking for a short-term bounce if that were to happen. But the big key area to be aware of, at least in my opinion, is below 83.5 on a daily closing basis. Anywhere below there, and I would say that this is going to be a humongous bull trap, very likely going to see price action back down somewhere into the mid 70s, probably prepares for another bounce around there, and then I'd probably be looking for lower than that over time, to be fair as well. Until then, I do think that the Bulas still have some hopium here, and that's based off of namely the 5-day, of which we did confirm a few drives of hidden bullish evidence come off that last low, and we are still seeing extremely low volatility, so we haven't seen the expansion from this, but ultimately any sort of a daily closure above the region that we spoke about earlier, and I would be looking for this technical target to play out basically around the prior highs, which is between about 120 and 130 or so in the following weeks. Until then, I still like what I see actually on 5-day Joule, and I still like what I see on 5-day RSI, and the monthly, of which we closed last night, is not giving me, not really giving me anything of particular interest. So until those validations for major downside hit, I actually would still give this one a chance. Kind of the same thing as Bitcoin as well. And short term very likely does try a bounce from this region. In fact, did I reference that on the hourly? Yeah, I'm very likely looking for a bounce off this $90 region. Probably does play up somewhere into the mid 90s, 94 to 95 or so in the interim. So yeah. Anyways, back on over here. See what short-term time frame stochastic momentum is looking like right now. Nose diving on the 4-hour, and I think that is consistent up to the 6-hour. The 12-hour as well is going to be freshly crossing down below 97.80, and daily is also freshly crossing down below about $99. So I think at best you're going to be trading sideways here between about 95.5 to your $90 base. If I were to see any sort of breaks below the bottom side of this range, again 88.80. then I would be looking for it to test the daily major region. And that's where you have to kind of, or at least where I would start praying to boo law Jesus. But for right now, volatility is incredibly low. So we are looking for expansion. We are looking for a decent sized move relatively soon. And again, basically a long way of saying to the upside, 98 versus to the downside about 80. What was this exactly? About 83. Until I have resolution on that, I don't really call a major direction. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for AVAX, sir. Nice, man. Pisa, what's up, man? Good morning to you. Can you look at XRP 4-hour and daily? I can. Let's see what XRP is doing right here. I'm curious to see actually how a lot of alts did today, because if we do see that a lot of alts held up, then that's probably a good sign for the general market. If we do not, then obviously not. Anyways, let's see. You're looking at a what? You're looking at a 4-hour and a daily. I'm just curious how the other higher term timeframes closed coming into this monthly. Yeah, I'm still not getting. I'm not getting anything obvious from the very higher term timeframes, which would obviously make things a lot easier. 5-day did confirm, or it looks like it's about to confirm, hidden bearish divergence here, but I would say that that's not confirmed until you close it daily below about 78.5 cents. Until then, let's go to a daily here. Until then, the daily range is actually very much the same as before. As long as you're above about 75, 77 cents or so, I do still treat this as a higher low. Below, especially 75.25, I would say that this is going to be a nice little bull trap, probably come back down to the low 60s or mid to low 60s in this case. To the upside, I'd look at confirmation of major continuation actually with any sort of a closure above your 90-cent high of the week, it looks like, with targets up probably north of $1, somewhere between about 105 to 114 or so in the following weeks. But for right now, short-term timeframes, as you did request, just looking for a bit of sideways right here, probably test somewhere back down around 80 cents again, and then I'd be looking for a bounce probably over the weekend around 84 to 85 cents. And so hopefully that was helpful, man. I will finish off the rest of this caffeine and then get back on over into it. There we go. Okay, cool. Let's see. Okay, we got Mr. SK next, or sorry, actually Jack is next. Says Ethereum, Bitcoin, 4-hour and daily. I got you, man. And we should actually do a general overview of Ethereum USD as well, just because it's always interesting. Yeah, hey, pretty damn good right there, actually. Alrighty. Okay. Yeah, let's start off right here. Okay, here we have Ethereum versus Bitcoin. We'll also look at the Ethereum US dollar pairing as well. I believe last time we looked at this last week, or was it earlier this week, whatever it was, at the request of Mr. Jack, we were looking at a nice reversal here, and I basically have the same thing to say about it. I think that we're just seeing continuation. I do think that this one's going to rally up somewhere around about 7.4, maybe even 7.5 million Satoshis or so, and very likely play out a bit of a pullback from there. But for right now, you got a nice silver cross going on. This is kind of a perfect example of it, in fact, as you do retest your 9 and then upwards and onwards. In this case, it does look like it's actually getting ready today. We do see daily RSI getting the bullish control zone for the first time since December, and this is on incredibly low volatility. So, and also the daily Jewel got a pretty damn good signal a few days ago as well on the 30th of March. So I'm looking for this one to trade sideways and up from here. Probably does tag somewhere around about 7.5 million Satoshis in the early portion of April. Let's see how that looks for the higher term timeframes as well. Yeah, the weekly is quite powerful here. We do see weekly hidden bullish evidence. Is that one already confirmed? Yeah, it is already confirmed. And that does have a couple of technical targets, one of them being 7.5 million Satoshis, and then a deeper one, which has a lower probability of being hit at about 7.75 million Satoshis. And yeah, I actually think Ethereum Bitcoin has found probably a macro low here. Monthly did not confirm hidden bullish divergence, but we'll have a chance to at the end of this month, and that's going to have targets towards basically the high of your rally from December, and potentially more over time. And then we also closed a quarterly last night, and I'm curious to see where this one is. Not really getting much from it. Yeah, not really getting much from it. So I should offer up an invalidation in this case. That's going to be obviously below about 7.12 million Satoshis. Until that happens, I'm just looking sideways and up over the next few weeks, and with those targets in mind. Other than that, let's go check out Ethereum versus the dollar here. And what do we have? Let's see. Where did we leave off last time? Yeah, okay. So I don't think that we spoke too much about it last time, in fact, but short-term time frame is very similar to Bitcoin. I do think you're going to grind this area out, maybe even another test down around 32.20 to 32 even, but ultimately I am looking for a bit of a weekend bounce. And then the question is, does the bounce bring it above any sort of a critical region? In this case, just like Bitcoin, below 46.5 is irrelevant, at least for like confirming, you know, a nice low. In this case, I'd say the same thing for Ethereum, as long as it's below 33,500, at least on a medium-term time frame closure, preferably a higher term time frame closure, as that's going to have, you know, well, just greater, greater meaning towards it. Anyways, in this case, just like Bitcoin, I don't consider that we have like a major bull trap just yet. It is possible, yes, but where do I start to confirm that? Below specifically about 30.80 in this case on a daily closure. At that point, I'm looking for this one to come down very hard, below 3,000, probably somewhere, probably finding this next bounce somewhere around 2,800, and then, well, probably lower than that over time as well. But in this case, let's see where the monthly close, as we did get another one last night. And again, kind of unhelpful here. I don't think that this solidifies much. Did not confirm hidden bullish evidence as well. So that is unhelpful. What about a 5-day? 5-day, you know, again, as long as you're above 3,100, I actually do still look for this one to give another try towards the upside. Very, 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 very low volatility right here as well. So to put this in perspective, the last time we've seen volatility this low was right here in October 2021. You don't need me to tell you where that one went. And then December as well. Of course, be aware that volatility is direction neutral, but you can see that was the last major run towards its current all-time highs, and also the last major run to the downside towards its current major lows. So in that case, as long as you do remain above about 3,100 or so, a little bit above 3,100 on a higher term time frame closing basis. Actually, do still look at these targets as relevant. Kind of already hit the 3,500 one. You're getting your first pullback from that. I guess the deeper one would be around 3,800, more long term. So I do look at that actually as relevant. Again, as long as that invalidation is not hit. I'm also curious what it looks like from this angle, just to see daily stochastic momentum is downside angle below about 34.65 or so. Short term timeframes are coming down hard as long as below 33.29, and hourly is what going to be showing. What is going to be showing upside above 32.30. So yeah, short-term time frames very likely do trade a bit more sideways, and then I would imagine over the weekend probably does put in a bounce, bouncing back above 3,300. Certainly not out of the question, but that's meaningless, at least in my opinion, as long as you're below about 33.50. That's at the point where I start to confirm this as your next major low for the daily, actually, and probably tries again, you know, towards a nice upside move. Until then, just be aware of where the major pain points are. I think it's easy to watch on Bitcoin, just personally speaking, but hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Ethereum, sir. Nice, man. Cool. Okay, let's see. David Davian says, okay, there we go. Can you please have a look at Power Ledger? Is this like the old Superman shitcoin? Dear Lord, dude. Are you fucking kidding me? Is this it? Is this the ticker for it? I don't know if it is. I'm just going to type it in. Power Ledger. Yeah, that is the ticker. Holy shit, this is the old Superman shitcoin. Wow. It's actually not so bad right here, though. Funnily enough, you know, have to call a spade a spade. And in the short term, not so bad. Long term, absolutely fucking dog shit terrible. This thing didn't even get close to its 2018 highs, which is always a really, really bad sign in one of the most parabolic markets of all time that we saw last year in 2021. But actually not so bad in the short term here. Anyways, can you please have a look at Power Ledger? No time frames given, just a look at a shitcoin. No problem, sir. No fucking problem indeed. I actually do kind of favor another try to the upside, as long as, like, this is a very big point here. As long as you're above about 55 cents on a daily closing basis. Below 55 cents, I would expect this one to do what I expect a shitcoin to do, which is go down and probably find another base at around like 42 to 43 cents over time. But for right now, actually, it's actually holding up relatively well, to be fair. So not a bad signal right there. I don't really have a major reason to be bearish as long as above about 55 cents. I should actually be looking for this one to try a bit of sideways and another try to the upside. However, I would not confirm any sort of like major upside continuation. As long as you're below specifically 66.5 cents on a weekly closing basis above there, I do look for this one to retest its November highs. Still quite far away from break even over here at $1.80, but but all good, man. So hopefully that was helpful on Power Ledger. Peace Mind says Luna 1 hour and 4 hours. Sure. Let's see, Luna USD. Okay, on Binance. Really fucking. Hold on. Let's go to the monthly here. I want to see where this one closed. Yeah, pretty damn good on the monthly right there. Although, yeah, getting kind of your first pullback after closing on new all-time highs. Wouldn't mind even if it pulled back a little bit more at $95. Let me actually record this one. Do you have multiple drives of bearish divergence come off the highs though? So that is a bit of a counterpoint, but let's see if we can. Is my chart here still relevant? Yeah, it is still relevant. Okay, good. All right. Here we have Terra Luna, symbol LUNA versus the dollar. I wanted to follow up on this one from the last video as we did hit, I believe, our first target. No, we did not hit our first target based off the breakout. That was coming in a little bit deeper at about 118 to 125 or so. Anyways, is getting its first pullback after closing on new all-time highs, which, you know, is not like the end of the world here. But I want to offer up a really big area of interest for a potential major failure. I don't think it's necessarily here just yet. It would be below 94.5. So that is to say, as long as it's above about 94.5, I do look at this one as, you know, just pulling back into another higher low and still, I guess, rather likely to hit that next continuation target. But below about 94.5, especially on a daily closure, I do look for this one to correct heavily down to the low 80s, upper 70s, and then I'd come back to it after that. Until then, I do want to see the 5-day, which closed last night. Yeah, closing on new all-time highs, not the worst sign, but do want to see continuation on this one actually in the next 5 to 10 days minimum. Otherwise, I would look at that as a sign that this one's probably going to end up being a major bull trap. Let's see what it looks like over here, and I want to see what the lower term timeframes look like a little bit later and kind of put the puzzle piece together. But in this case, well, hourly is going to be turning up, so probably trading a little bit sideways and up in the short-term timeframes. Daily is turning down below about $1.04.5, so I do look at this one as medium-term corrective. 5-day turns down below $90. That would be quite devastating, and weekly below about $70. Kind of too high of a time frame for something like this, so that's a little bit on the newer side. 109 on the 12 hours, so let's go back on over here. Let's go to the short-term timeframes, and yeah. Yeah, I'd probably be looking for a bit of sideways right here. Probably does try for a bit of a weekend rally, but just like Bitcoin, just like Ethereum that we went over as well, I would not consider this one as, confirming this next major daily higher low actually until you're at minimum closing, medium-term time frame, preferably a daily back above about $1.05.5. If it can, or sorry, $1.05.25. If you can do that, I would be looking at this one as then en route towards these next targets at about $1.18 to $1.26. Or $1.25, and probably even more over time as well. But for right now, should be known on the daily, 1, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence, very low volatility. The next target on that would actually be $95. So if you do start to close below, again, that 94.5, that's where I start to look at this as like a major bull trap in progress, and you can expect much lower over time. Until then, I'm still looking at pullbacks as higher lows. Again, just easier to watch Bitcoin in this case, but yeah, one of the stronger ones. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Luna. Nice, man. Oh, Mr. Jason, what's up, Mr. Jason? Good morning to you. What's going on right there? Hey, sir. God damn it, Jason. Get rid of him. Hey, what's up, man? Guys, check out Jason because one of the more grounded in reality channels. As I search my words there. Mark Dalton says weekly stock for OTC market. Oh dear lord, might as well be a crypto at that point. PRDSF. Okay. Oh, this is Prada. This is Prada. It trades OTC. Oh man, it's an actual shitcoin of a stock. Holy shit, this is awful. You can't buy this shit. It's garbage. Probably actually does try for some upside in the next few weeks. Probably back around about $7, low $7 or so. But wow, for humor and Elsa. I actually do think that it trades up here, but pretty shitty stock actually long term. To be fair, basically been in a long-term downtrend for the last 10 years almost, and it looks like you actually are reversing here. To be fair, so because this would be the time to kind of long Prada if I had to. I'd get really fucking bearish below about $5.5, but it's actually rather interesting right there. Wasn't expecting to see that. Cool. Mamba for Life says FTM USD 15-minute, 4-hour, and daily. Man, that is like quite the spread of time frames. I'm genuinely curious what people would be doing with that information. Maybe just want to see like a general overview, I suppose. Okay, so FTM, this was the one that had like their dear leader or something like that. They left, or I think there's like some sort of a news piece like that on this one. So as always with these sorts of things, I just don't trust tentacles as much when it comes to these sort of situations. For what it's worth, it does look like it's putting a bit of a low here. I'd start to really confirm that as a major low above about 155 with targets up. First target would be about 1 3/4, and then second target would be probably somewhere around 190 or so. But for right now, it's actually okay there. It's just I'm very what's it called? I'm not. I don't want to be aggressive with an analysis on something that has an event going on like that. See what the higher term timeframes look like as well. Okay, monthly's really not giving me too much. Anyways, you wanted to also look at the very low term timeframes. I'm actually looking for upside continuation here on the 4-hour. Probably does pop back up towards 160 plus actually. 15-minute is a bit of sideways, probably tries for another higher low at about 147, but ultimately, 4-hour and daily actually showing continuation here. So not bad. I'd only validate like, major downside, and like major downside below about 137. That'd be very, 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 very concerning. For the long term, but until then, I actually do think that you got a decent low right here. Just be aware that this one is going to be event driven, so I just don't trust analysis as much. What's up, Mr. Sebastian Gwynn? It's been a while, man. Check out the ponytail. Thanks, man. Thoughts are on R. Okay, R-A-R-E. Okay, that's the ticker. Gotcha. Okay, so I'm guessing you're on nicely here. Real estate equities. Okay, you look like a real estate guy, sir. A nice good mug like you. That's what I was always told, is that in order to be a real estate agent, you have to be an attractive person. You have to be an attractive person. Okay, it's not creepy. Like he's a good looking man. Like what the fuck? There's nothing wrong with appreciating a good looking person. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. There's also nothing gay about sucking a dick. And why are you laughing? It's not that it's April Fool's. Anyways, ARE monthly. Yeah, actually, I do think that you got a nice low here. Probably does open the month down to like 195 or so, but I actually would be looking for this one to give another try to the upside after that. Maybe back up just north of $200, like 210 to 215 region. After that, though, I really don't have an opinion because I do see multiple drives of regular bearish divergence right there. See what the quarterly closed? Not great. Not great. Doesn't have bearish or let's see, what is that? 75.26 versus 75.59. It's not really divergence, but where would I start to really confirm like a major high? That would be below 195. So I do think you're probably going to open up the new month on a pullback, but just hope that it doesn't close any dailies below about 195. Until then, I do think after a short-term pullback, you probably get one more try somewhere around like 210-ish, let's say, and then I don't have any opinion after that, man. Interesting chart there, though. I mean, it's been good for a long time, but quite crazy indeed. Quite crazy indeed, let's say. Hopefully that was helpful, man. All right, sweet. Let me scroll back on over here, and okay, I think we have Mr. SK next. Yeah, we got, or did we do Luna? I think we did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did. Yeah, okay, we did do Luna. Okay, cool. Christopher Forland, what's up, man? GMT, okay. GMT, this is a cryptocurrency. Great. Oh, that's weird. Okay, why does its ticker look like that? Or sorry, its emblem look like that. Anyways, you're on a 4-hour and a daily, bullish as fuck. Earn to move. You like, wait, what? You earn to? What are they gonna think of? Look, this chart's like a little bit too new for me to really do any real analysis on it, on like a daily, for example. But tell you what you already know, it's good. 4 hours continuation. It's looks quite extended here. Let's see what volatility is printing right now. Probably has another move to new highs. I would actually not be considering a major pullback until I see another sort of extreme on at least 4-hour BBWP. So that's at minimum above back about 85 percentile. Until then, I guess probably at least one more run towards new highs. Or I guess you're already at new highs, so I don't have any targets for something like this, man. It's way too new, but at least one more run. Look for extremes on here. Once you start to see that cool off, very likely a nice healthy pullback. Earn to move. What are they going to think of next, man? Kilo Bravo says a lot more YouTubers are promoting Bybit. By the way, check out my Bybit link in the description below. You can get $3,000 free to get wrecked with. Sorry, to trade with. They really like my promotion of it. I wonder if I'm gonna get. I wonder if they'll keep me on. Would this attribute to global leverage numbers? Well, of course, you know, it theoretically would. But is that like what's happening over here? Is that what's responsible for this? No, man. Like people have been promoting these fucking shitcoin exchanges these highly esteemed exchanges, like Bybit. Which, to be fair, I mean, if you're gonna trade in the wild west of crypto, Bybit's probably the best one to do. Just because they have the most liquidity there, at least for right now. But this has been going on for years, man. No, I don't think that you could blame that on it. I know that people want to blame, influencers, like the usual suspects and whatnot. No, it's just people, man. It's just people. Human nature. People just want to, leverage their fucking leverage everything to the fucking gills. So no, I mean theoretically yes, but no, I don't think that that's what's happening in practice. I think that you just see the market get exuberant in these sort of situations. And at the end of the day, man, I always have to fall back onto this. People are responsible for what they do. So I don't think that you could blame it on. I know that people want to blame it on, again, we'll just say the usual suspects. I don't think it's appropriate, man. Like people are responsible for their own decisions, and this has been going on for years now. I don't think that you could attribute it to that. It probably just amplifies it a little bit more, but people are going to do what people are going to do, man, which is typically gamble with money that they don't actually have, which is not good, man. Not fucking good. Anyways, NYO says XTZ USD daily on Coinbase. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Sure. Okay, cool. So this is Tezos. Tezos, and what's Tezos doing? Again, this is actually a day when I'm very interested to see what altcoins are doing. Definitely on the weaker side in the short term compared to most things. I mean, this one, yeah, this one's actually rather cut and dry. I guess just like Bitcoin, it's like you can give it the benefit of the doubt for right now. And I guess we already charted this one off. Oh, and look, it got pretty damn close to target. Not necessarily exactly there, but you can give it the benefit of the doubt as long as you're above 350 on a daily closing basis. But the second that you start to close below there, I would be looking for another return down towards your lows from the last few months in the upper twos, low threes, essentially in the following weeks. See what the monthly looks like. Yeah, not really getting too much from this either. There's no real obvious signals on this one, as far as I'm concerned. Until then, I do think that there's a little bit of hopium, but that hopium gets absolutely fucking shredded below 350 on a daily closing basis. Even then, I mean, this one's definitely a laggard, so certainly not on the relatively strong side of things. I wouldn't even consider it having a nice, major range breakout until you're at minimum back above about 450. And at that point, I do look for big rallies up into the $5.50 region, which is a major move for something like this. But for right now, I think you're going to be ranging here for a little bit of time. Short-term timeframes, probably grind out that 350 region. So I do think you're probably going to test somewhere down around there. Just pray to Bula Jesus for no closures below there. Otherwise, you don't even want to know. No, it's just very, very likely to have a major move to the downside if that were to happen. Hopefully that was helpful, man. All right, sweet. Let's see. We got Mr. Capo Tico. What's up, brother? Wax P. What the fuck? Wax P. Okay. Wax P. Wax your P. Yes, very funny. Okay, on the daily and weekly. Very similar to the last chart that we saw in the lower term time, in the more recent price action. This one below about 32 cents, I would say that this is going to be your night. It's not even a bull trap. It's just another lower high, but, would imply price action back down somewhere between about 28 to 28 to 29 cents if that were to happen. Until then, it's like, do you give it the benefit of the doubt and say, technically it's still in higher lows? I mean, technically it is. I do think that you are going to test down around that region, to be fair. Again, that being about 32.5, let's say. But any sort of a closure, again, on a daily closing basis below there, I'd call this, your next major high before another move down. Have major hidden bearish divergence come off this. looking very, very likely for targets back down to like 28 to 29 cents or so. Just like the last one, I wouldn't call any meaningful breakout on this until you're at minimum back above about 39 and a quarter. Above there, yeah, I look for this one to put in some pretty significant rallies, perhaps up to, somewhere around 50 cents in the following weeks. But for right now, man, not one of the strong ones. So if you see any weakness in Bitcoin, this one's going to get hit probably harder, all things considered. Cool. Darren Garish says Proton XPR. Okay. XPR. I like my protons, man. That's how you get nice and big. Eating your protons, sir. I guess CoinX maybe is the one to go to. Piece of shit. Okay. And KuCoin. Also a piece of shit, but less of a piece of shit right here, actually. So that's good. That's good. Well, maybe good. Again, big pain points below about, what is this? 1 and a quarter, one spot, 25 cent. Until then, I think, maybe you can have a little bit of hopium. Would confirm major drives of hidden bearish divergence and also another lower high, and very likely does initiate targets in the following weeks down to, 1 cent and probably even below 1 cent to about spot 0.9. But until then, I guess you got a little bit of hopium here, just like the last few ones. I don't look at this one as doing anything meaningful to the upside until you're at minimum back above, what is this? Basically 1 spot 6 cent on a daily closing basis. And at that point, looking for big rallies up towards 2 cents plus. But, just be aware of this area right here. As long as you're above there, I do think that there's a bit of hopium. But again, just be aware if Bitcoin falls down here, everything very likely is coming with it, and you're probably gonna see it back down around your February lows if you get a daily closure below about 1 spot 25 cent. Until then, just kind of corrective here. Let me see. You also asked about a 4 hour. Let's see what that one looks like. Yeah, I do think that you're going to test a little bit further down, somewhere around 1 spot 229, let's say, just a little bit further down on the short-term time frames. And then I think you also, but I am curious for my own knowledge. What does it look like on a 5? Yeah, not great. Also not great on a weekly. But again, whatever direction Bitcoin goes, this one very likely follows. It'll very likely overperform to the downside and underperform to the upside, however. Anyways, let me take a sippy sip of this water here. There we go. Better, much better. Capitico's he's back. He says, can we check out near on the 4 hour daily? Yeah, and remember this one was one of the stronger ones that we looked at earlier this week. So let's see where she's at now. Did hit our target to the upside at 1410. Did not close above though, so no continuation implied just yet. Again, this one would be relatively strong, yes, but kind of the same analysis as before, or I mean, we've already kind of hit that target from before. So what does it look like now? I still want to see a closure at minimum above 1410, that is, for the next sort of continuation targets to be met. At 15 and a quarter would be first one, and then 17 and a half would be second one. Until then, I do think that you could pull back a little bit further and be okay, that being about 12 and a quarter, but any sort of a daily closure below that $12 number, I look at this one as, another major high before trending back down, and would have also multiple drives of hidden bearish divergence here, and probably does test back down, just south of $11, maybe more over time as well. I don't think that it's appropriate for me to say anything more than that. Other than that, higher term time frame, I'm actually not getting too much from it. 4 hour, very likely going to retest down around 1260 to 1250 or so. But again, I'm not super concerned about this one on the higher term time frames until you're below about 12 or so. So all good. Go down. Eli Karchov. Sounds Russian, man. Don't like this. Just kidding, man. Just fucking kidding. In case if no one understands the fucking joke, look, I don't have any bad feeling towards Russians unless you're, Putin. Well, it's just, we're neighbors, and I'd appreciate, I don't want to be a part of Russia. Would you mind expanding on how you determine a continuation following a move? Notice you've been at nailing most during the last couple of years. Thanks. I appreciate that. Okay, so how do you determine continuation following a move? You can do it multiple ways. So one of them would be a technical target based off of like a formation in this case. For example, if we had like, or over here, if we had, for example, in this case, like an ascending triangle, that's gonna have a technical target on top of it. This one, might not get hit, but that would be the technical target for this one specifically. If you're looking at like range resolutions, then I literally just go up to the next the next range for that time frame. So in this case, maybe let's go to like a short-term time frame, or sorry, here's a really good example from just yesterday actually. In this case, we saw a range resolution, just basically a closure below the range low in this case. Just above $46,000. I just look for Bitcoin to play down towards the next range. In this case, that was the $44,500 region. And, it doesn't mean that it can't go more than that. It just means that I'm looking for a bounce around there, and then I reassess after that. Other than that, kind of judging areas of interest just comes from, areas where you have a natural edge. So that could be a fib, a fib retracement or a fib extension. It could also be, a major moving average, for example. I'm not like actually predicting where price action is going to go. I'm just looking at areas where, traditionally speaking, there is an edge for price action to have an interaction with, and at least, consolidate a little bit. So that's all that I'm doing. And that's actually a really big misnomer of technical analysis. Maybe I should record that video. Maybe I should record that right here. We could actually do that right now, because I think that this might be an interesting topic for some people, perhaps. Yeah, let's actually do that right now. I'm trying to pull up a fresh chart. Maybe let me pull up like a fresh Bitcoin US dollar chart. Maybe over here. Maybe go to Binance. Actually, don't have anything charted on this one, so. And let's just make this like as simple as possible. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, this is gonna be as. Let's even just go to like an hourly. Okay, so here we have a really good question from a community member talking about sort of anticipating targets based off of breakouts and just technical indicators and whatnot. And I really wanted to address this question because I think it answers like a multitude of questions and a really big misunderstanding that I see a lot of people make when they think about technical analysis, and especially the people who think that technical analysis does not work or has no predictive power. In this case, I agree with you. I agree 100%. Technical analysis has no predictive power. It cannot tell you exactly where price action is going to go in a specific time. That can't actually be done. What technical analysis can do is it can tell you where you have an edge, where essentially there's some sort of probability in your favor based off of the historical analysis of whatever indicator you might be using that essentially gives you, something again in your favor that you can base things off of. Now, I want to bring up a really just simple example right here with an hourly, or we can go to a 4-hour on Bitcoin. A 4-hour on Bitcoin, and I have one moving average on here. Obviously, this is a very basic and certainly not optimized strategy by any stretch of the imagination. But what we have here, again, is a green 55 exponential moving average. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for an edge basically when price action comes down to test it. If it's above it and it comes down, probably looking for a bounce around that region. Is it a tradable bounce? For that, we'd have to do a back test of it, see what the general or the historical bounce percentage on it, given the next pullback or next high would be, and then we could perhaps construct a plan around that. Would it be optimized? Fuck no. Again, this is not like something that I'm suggesting doing, but you can see right here, plays well. And then breaks it over here, and then you have an edge on the other side. Over here, it doesn't work perfectly. Fuck no, it does not. Nothing is perfect, obviously. Over here, do you get a nice little short-term bounce, maybe even a short-term scalpable? Yes, but this is what I think a lot of people who get into technical analysis at first, or people who, again, just shit on technical analysis, which a lot of it I agree with, actually, in the sense that they think that you can predict something based off of technicals. No, you cannot. Price action is unpredictable. I do not think it's random. However, if it was like literally random, if it was literally random, which some people think that it is based off of black skulls, then you'd get like $100 print 1 second, and then you get like a $1 million print the next second. That would theoretically be possible, and theoretically it is possible, but has that ever happened? I'm sure anyone who's been trading for even a small amount of time would say that that's incredibly unlikely. And things do trend. The trend can certainly be your friend. And many people have made a shit ton of money just, trading that. So my point is that it really comes from a misunderstanding that people think that you can literally predict where price action is going to go. I don't think that you can do that. I think, and I would agree with anyone who thinks that technical analysis is bullshit for that reason, 100%. But the problem is, it's just a misunderstanding. The understanding of technical analysis and the way that I have learned it and the way that I use it is it just gives you an edge. That means that it gives you a probabilistic advantage, assuming that you have something worthwhile that you've actually back tested, right, and you have the statistics around, that you can construct a plan around, and that means that it is never going to be perfect, and that also means that whatever your plan has needs to have some sort of an invalidation in the way that I refer to it. So I hope to kind of clear up that question, because I see that on both sides. And it's like, I agree with both sides. Just it needs to be very, very nuanced, because otherwise, you fall into like one of the camps that just make some really crazy statements, which I just don't think are supported, or at least I haven't seen it myself. So yeah, there we go. Nice one, man. All right, cool. Let me scroll back here and let's see where we're at now. Okay, I think we are here. Okay, we did near, we have not done let's not all get our panties in a bind. Says mostly wanted to put in my vote for a story at the beginning of your lives like today. I mean, if I have stories, man, I'm happy to share them, but I don't think I have anything else of interest, man. I have poop stories. I have poop stories, says Elsa. Would you like to learn about those? Oh, Elsa would love to learn about those. VeChain on the daily and weekly. Gotcha. Okay. Would you like to hear a story? It's VeChain. Let me put back all my tools here. Let's see. Okay, there we go. All right, sweet. And you're on higher term timeframes, like a daily and a weekly. Interesting one here, like a very interesting one. I don't know when we charted this one last, but it looks like that chart's still holding up well. But what does it mean? What does it all mean? This be a really good place for another lower high is what it looks like. That's what it looks like to me. I would confirm this as a major lower high with any sort of a daily closure below about 6.6 cent. Below there, I look at this as your next major bull trap, targets back down towards your March lows. Until then, I do think that you're going to trade a bit more sideways here, work off these extreme conditions on daily BBWP. If you can trade sideways in a range between that 6.5 to 8, basically 9 cent high, that would actually be quite constructive and quite good. But I would not call any sort of major continuation to the upside until you're at minimum closing daily doldles basically below the high of this week, which is 9 cents even. At that point, very likely trades much further north. Be looking at like 11 cents. And probably 13 cents or so. But until then, again, if Bitcoin shows any weakness here, this one's probably going to get, wrecked. Let's see, monthly, not getting anything from this as well. Not really getting much from a 5-day. So yeah, I think I'll just leave it right there. I would say that this one's a little bit more on the weaker side. So do be aware that if Bitcoin does start to, violate any one of its major regions, this one very likely does trade below that 6.5 cent or so region, which would be quite devastating, I suspect, for the long term. Until then, Hopium does resume. Short-term timeframes probably has one more move down around about 7 cent low or so, and probably another bounce around there. Other than that, I don't really have any strong opinions on it, and hopefully that was helpful, sir. Nice. Cool. Crypto Arom says, hey man, all good, dude. It's not free education, man. I'm I don't consider myself an educator. I'm just sharing what I've learned and kind of what I'm what the I don't like to think of it that way, because I just don't think that that's like, relatable or maintainable for myself. I just think of it as, I'm just kind of, it's almost like, it's almost like, what's it called? It's like when it's almost like a practice for me, almost like extra practice for me. So, it goes both ways, man. Anyways, you're looking at DOT daily and weekly. Sure. Let's see what this one looks like. DOT solves this. Okay, let's get off the 4-hour maybe. Yeah, another very similar chart to the other ones, a little bit more on the relatively weak side, but I would not confirm this one as like a major meltdown until you do close a daily below about basically $20 even. Until then, I think that the Bulo's got a shot here, but where would I confirm this one as a major, Jesus Christ, we don't need all of this. Where would I confirm this one as like a major, maybe even macro low? Let me see. Yeah, a major macro low would be with a daily closure above about 23.15. Above there, I do look for this one to put in big rallies towards $30 or so in the following weeks. Until then, be aware of the $20 region. Below there, I'm looking for this one to retest March lows. Weekly, you got a little bit of hopium right here, but still 23.15 is the big area. Above there, I'm looking for big rallies, actually probably closer to $30. You also would have major drives of regular bullish divergence. What about the monthly? Unhelpful. What about the 5-day? Unhelpful. And if anything, more on the bearish side. But yeah, that's kind of the way that I see it right now. Hopefully that was helpful, man. Again, easy to watch Bitcoin go down. Paul Garrett says, big swords. Oh, my fucking man. Yeah, big swords only. Colossal great swords only, sir. Waves on the daily and weekly. Okay, so waves was one of the best charts that we saw over the past couple weeks. Let's see where she is now. How is she holding up? Still pretty damn well, actually. Very, very well, in fact. Monthly closed. Yeah, monthly closed on new all-time highs. That's phenomenal. Yeah, this is the best chart that we've seen today. Better than even Luna. Anyways, here we have waves symbol WAVES versus the dollar, and this is probably the best chart that we've seen today, and the best chart that we've seen in the past couple weeks here. Even better than Luna, closing the monthly on new all-time highs. So with that in mind, if we go and reference the higher term timeframes, I should say that short-term-ish here on the daily, probably am looking for a pullback relatively soon. We did hit extremes once on daily BBWP in early March, and it looks like we're going to hit, or we already at extremes here in April as well. I think that it probably has maybe one more try to the upside, but ultimately I am looking for a consolidation sideways and down after that. That is not a reversal call. I am looking at this as, again, one of the best charts in cryptocurrency land, but could pull back down to low 40s, somewhere between about 42 to 44 if it wants. Ultimately, I am looking for this one to try higher in the month of April. The 5-day close incredibly strong as well. Again, just short-term downside moves very likely lead towards higher lows, somewhere around 42 to 43, if that even happens to begin with. I do want to check it out from a stochastic momentum perspective as well here, and then we'll go reference the short-term timeframes. But the daily is, yeah, at extremes. I do think this one's getting ready for a pullback relatively soon. Daily will turn down below about $55.50, so corrective kind of there. 5-day turns down below about $50, and weekly turns down below 18. That's probably not happening anytime soon, but barring a catastrophic blowout. Until then, short-term timeframes, a bit more on the corrective side here as well. 4 hours showing 55, 6 hour is showing 58, and hourly is showing what? Showing a loading screen, showing up above about 55. So very short-term timeframes. Let's go down here to the 4 hour. Basically ranging as long as you're above about 48 and a half on a 4 hour closing basis. I do see some bearish divergence forming between these last 3 peaks right here. So short term probably does trade a little bit more sideways and perhaps test around $50. But again, that's not concerning from the higher term time frame perspective. And I'd only be concerned, or it's not even concerned. I'd just look for that next pullback down somewhere around about 42 to 43. If you do see a 4 hour closure below about 48 and a half. Until then, best chart in cryptocurrency land right now. I just think that it's probably getting ready for a bit more sideways and a test to the downside in the next week or two, and then come back to it after that. And assuming you don't see any closures below specifically about basically $40, I do look for this one to try for new highs probably later in April, maybe the month after that in May, but yeah, among the best charts that we've seen today. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for waves, sir. Cool. Let me scroll back up here, and I think we have Brian next. Says rose on the daily and weekly. All right. Symbol ROSE. Yes, so this is another one of the meta derp coins. Very popular in November, I think it was. Again, on the weaker side, man. Any sort of a daily closure below a quarter or 25.5 cents, and I'd be very comfortable calling this one your next bull trappy lower high, bull trappy high, and targets back down towards 22 to 23 cents for the next decent bounce. Definitely not super strong on its own, but it's also not. It's basically par for the course in the way that I look at things. What about a monthly? Not getting much from this. Anyways, you're on the higher term time frames, but I am interested in the short term time frames. I do think that it will test down around about 25.5 cents. That is not a breakdown call just yet, though. It's not till you really close the daily below there where I'd really be concerned about this one, but just be aware, Bitcoin shows weakness here, which I do think Bitcoin's probably going to bounce first, so this one will have a chance. But if if Bitcoin shows weakness, this one will get shellacked. I'd call a major daily breakout above about 29.5 cents, with targets up into the mid 30s, maybe even deeper 30s, maybe even beyond over time, but don't want to get too ahead of ourselves right here. Cool. Crypto Med says, "Hey Krown, been watching all your videos to improve my own TS skills. Sweet. Hey man, I appreciate that. Really do appreciate that. Near 4 hour deal. I think we did that one.
Go down.
Okay, super. Okay. Okay, gotcha. Super. 4 hour daily. Let's see. What's Elio's coin doing here? Actually, wasn't expecting to see this, but it is actually above 21.55. Not bad. But here's the thing. I would call this the next sort of bull trappy high, specifically below 72 cents on a daily. Until then, actually should give it a chance here after a bit of a short-term sideways move, and probably even test a little bit of downside here as well. That being somewhere around like 75 to 76 cent in the short-term timeframes. I do see it going into a bit of a contraction phase on the 4 hour BBWP, so likely sideways short term. Where would I call a continuation towards probably even $1 plus would be with a daily closure above about 85 cents. Until then, I don't really have super strong opinions on this one. I kind of want to check out your other one though, because I'm not like super confident on super in this case. Maybe Cadena. This one's usually quite popular anyways. Pretty fucking ugly there on the daily. Maybe KuCoin has a better chart. Okay, yeah, so this one is the one that's kind of holding up relatively well, but in the short term, man, I'm just not a fan of this chart. In the short term, I do think it's probably going to try another bounce here. It's certainly not strong on its own, man. If Bitcoin shows any weakness, this thing's coming back down towards its like February lows, and probably even sets that up for a breakdown towards its January lows after that. But for right now, short-term bouncy. Where would I say that this one actually has a bit of a short-term bear trap in mind? Would be back about 669. But long-term, man, it's a hard chart to love, especially for the love of God, especially as long as it's below $7. But if you want to go buy the book, it'd be $8.50. So until then, man, I mean, here's what the real chart looks like. Not fucking great. So kind of reliant on a strong broad market. Otherwise, I would be looking for this one to, yeah, it's gonna be reliant on like a on Bitcoin to kind of pick it up here. But again, I do think that Bitcoin will bounce short term, probably over the weekend. Just be aware. Just be aware. Again, if Bitcoin doesn't do that, I mean, this one's not going to be the picture of health and fitness, we'll say. Cool. Go down. So Crypto Chrissy, what's up? KNC on the daily and weekly. Okay. Let's see. So this is Kyber Network Derp. Yeah, I remember this one from 2017. People were like very excited about it because they thought that Vitalik was involved, or it's actually one of the better charts we've seen right here. Very interesting. Long term, I absolutely hate charts that have not gotten back above their 2018 highs. But in the weekly here, I do think that you're getting ready for a bit of a bigger pullback. But this is actually relatively strong over the past few months here. I'm sure that you got many drives of bearish divergence. Yes, you do. Many drives of bearish divergence with very low volatility right now. Daily Jewel is probably going to start to tick down as well. 668 to 669 is where I'd be looking for on the next bounce. Would I be looking for a higher low there? I don't know. I don't know just yet. I would be looking for a bounce there. But yeah, short term, medium term, very likely looking for a greater pullback actually. I would not look at this one as like a bull trap until you're below about 220. So as long as you're above there, it is just another higher low. But I do think that you're getting prepared for a bit of a pullback here. Monthly closed pretty good. 5-day closed decent. Again, I do think they're coming down to like 269 to 265 to 270-ish region. Try for a bounce there. And then where would I call them like major long-term continuation? Weekly closure above 380, and this one probably goes for quite a big run into the mid $4, maybe even towards $5. But yeah, kind of interesting, a very interesting chart right here, because it doesn't look like most of the charts that we've seen today. Cool. All right. Let's see. What? Okay. I see. Okay. David Snari says, morning, Krown. Good morning to you, man. 1 in 4 hour for what? For what? Can you do a 1 in 4 hour? What for Bitcoin? I think we already went over that. I don't know what you're referencing. If you could tag Elsa onto what ticker that you're looking at, that would be massively helpful. Chris says, for the man pun, envious. Yeah. First time I've ever heard that, man. So good. I'm quite happy to hear that. EGLD, sure. EGLD. All right, this is Elrond. Elrond token. No timeframes given. So where do I go with this? Don't fucking know. Major bull trap confirmed below about 172. Until then, I think the hopium does remain alive. If you're on the short-term timeframes, I think that you're generally getting ready for a weekend bounce here. You will have hidden bullish difference between this potential low and this low coming in from 26th of March. Probably tries back up towards like 191 to 195 region. Where would I call major upside continuation? Very easy on this one. Above 205 with targets up towards probably like 240 to 250. Until then, I would call a major bull trap, major fucking bull trap, below, what was it, like 171, 170, around there. You can close them. I mean, it seems like things are relatively quiet today, so it's all good. Jesus Venegas, he's back. AIOZ. Okay, AIOZ. AIOZ USD. Okay, maybe KuCoin is going to be the one to go to. And you're looking at an hourly, 4 hour daily failed ascending triangle on the 4 hour. Let's see. No, I don't. I think that this is a Jesus toast. This is not an ascending triangle, or if it is, you'd be looking at something like this. I don't think it is, to be honest with you. I don't think it is at all. But if I were to make a Jesus toast out of it, it'd be like this and break out points above about 26.65. Gave a few tries, but no, I think that that's a Jesus toast. Anyways, let's go on the daily. And I wouldn't call it a failure there either. I'd call it a failure below 22 cents. On a daily closure below 22 cents, this thing very likely falls through the cracks and tests back down around its mid-March lows over time. But for right now, I actually think that it still has a chance here, and I actually think it's okay. All things considered, in the short term, long term, fucking hate it, but but you already knew that. Where would I call continuation here? Technically at a breakout level right there. Maybe it was relevant for like a 5-day or weekly. Yeah, it is relevant for a 5-day, but it did not clear above it on the 5-day closure. You do kind of have a bastardized version of an inverted head and shoulders here. So if you do confirm this on a 5-day or even like a 2-day closure above that, what was it, like 24.5 cent region, I guess I'd be looking at a target towards 44.5 cent, which is kind of a big move for this one. Until then, if I'm using a daily to manage this one, I'd say specifically 26.25 would be my breakout confirmation region. Until then, big caution below 22 cents. Pin my message. Uh-oh, hey, did my camera break? My goddamn camera broke again. What? It's it's wrecked. Yeah, so we'll let me just see if I can fix this really quickly. Boom and boom. Yes, there we go. All right, cool. Yeah, I don't know what's been happening recently. Strange. Anyways, Moon Raccoon. Nice name, sir. Can we please look at Matic? Yeah, we haven't looked at Matic in ages, man. No one cares about Matic anymore. It's salvaging itself right at the fucking area that you want to see it salvage itself out, but any sort of a daily closure below 157, and I am looking at this as a major not bear trap, but bull trap with targets back down to 145 or so, maybe lower than that over time as well. Let's see, you're on a 4 hour and a daily. I'm just going to reference the higher term timeframes here just to see. It's actually not bad on a monthly just yet. I actually don't think that this is I actually think that long term it's okay. Again, I'd still offer up the caveat with that major invalidation below 157. But until then, I actually think it has a bit of a chance here. Probably going to trade a bit more sideways and test some short term upside. Maybe back around 165 to 167 region. And I'd actually call a major low confirmed with the daily closure back above about 171 and a half actually, with targets up towards your February highs. To follow in the next few weeks, but until then, man, I mean, it's on like the razor's edge right there. Below again 157. Look at this as a major bull trap. Probably has some major hidden bearish divergence. Yes, it would get confirmed along the way, and very likely targets back down towards March to February lows. Yeah, don't really have much to add on to it other than that. Short term though, a little bit of sideways, a little bit of bouncy. See if it clears above any one of the critical regions there. Bryce Pinko says, Adam on the 4 hour and daily. Gotcha. Okay, Adam, This one was another very popular one. What? Yeah, this one's yeah, this one is definitely on the weaker side for the short term, I'd say. Another lower high. Do we have potential hidden bearish evidence? Actually, no. So a little bit of a consolation prize. Any sort of a daily closure here, lower amount. I'm bearish on this one, looking for price action back down to 26 and a quarter to 25 and a quarter. Definitely not the strongest in the short term. Long term, it's actually one of the better charts long term, to be fair. I mean, holds its higher lows relatively well. So I give it a, you know, you kind of have to give it a chance just based off of that right here. But again, you know, Bitcoin shows downside, which I do think Bitcoin bounces first. So this one should have a chance. It's like, it's right fucking there, man. It's right fucking there. But short term, could it bounce back up somewhere around 29 to 30 bucks? Yeah. I do want to see, where would I call like this as a confirmation of a major breakout to the upside? Anywhere above basically these slew of wick highs right here around the 200 simple, which is about 31 and a half. I'd call this a major low and probably trades up towards the deep 30s or mid to deep 30s in the following weeks. Until then, like, best hope that this is your next higher low, man. Cool. Let's see. I think we have Mr. Aurora. What's up, sir? ALCX on FTX. Okay. ALC. Yeah, I did, Jesus. On FTX specifically. Okay, gotcha. Okay, you're on an hourly and a 4 hour. Okay. Short-term bouncy. Short-term bouncy. On the hourly, probably looking at 115 or so. 4 hour, same thing. Short-term bouncy. I would call a break to the downside. Actually pretty close to where you're at right now, with a 4 hour closure below about 113 spot 4, with targets back down to like 109, 109 and a half to 110 short term. Until then, I mean, this is a terrible chart. So again, any sort of weakness on Bitcoin, I mean, long term, this one probably has a lot more downside to go, if I had to guess. Probably even has some hidden bearish evidence here between the last few highs, and it certainly does. Look, if the dooms drop will happen, or very likely to happen, on a daily closure below about 112 and a half. Until then, 4 hours like right on the fucking razor's edge there. But I should be looking for a short-term bounce here first, and I'd call a major upside continuation move above about 125 on a 4 hour closing basis, with targets up towards 145, maybe even 155. But again, long term, this is just garbage, is what it looks like. So it's like, where does it put in the next lower high? Is it right here? Does it come up for, you know, a little bit higher? I think best case scenario, like let's say the whole market goes parabolic from here. You see Bitcoin in like the $50,000 territory. You might see this one at like 250, but even then, man, I mean, that is hopium upon hopium upon hopium. I don't even mean to do that to you, because it's pretty fucking ugly. That was Mr. Aurora, the last one there. Anyways, the very bottom, because that was a green one. Then I go to the blue ones. RM says, "Good day, sir. I'm wrecked." LRC daily and weekly. Sure, man. Let's see what LRC looks like. Remember, we looked at this one earlier this week, but I forget what it looked like. Yeah, right there. I mean, I actually don't think this is that bad, man. I'd be bearish below about $1 on a daily closure, but until then, actually okay. A little bit of sideways here is completely fine. Short term should trade a little bit more sideways and probably test around about 120 to, well, probably 120. You know, could have put another spike low at about $1.06. Yeah, that's fine. But as long as you're closing dailies above there, or you could even say $1 even, I actually think this is among some of the better ones short term. See what a 5 day looks like. Yeah, same thing here. I would just go as far as saying, as long as you're above about $1.06, okay. One of the better ones in the short term, actually. All things considered. What about a monthly? Yeah, monthly, same thing. Actually, one of the better ones short term. Quite bearish below about $1 or $1.06 even, but okay for now. Where would I call like a major continuation? I mean, it's going to be right here at the 200 simple, and you know, probably targets back up towards 150 to 160ish region. Other than that, give it the benefit of the doubt. One of the stronger ones, especially if Bitcoin bounces, this one actually should do a little bit relatively better. Baxter says MTL. MTL, is this metal? This is holy shit, man. I haven't heard about this one since 2017. This was like another one of them crypto credit cards or something like that. This one did not do that well. I think the ones that won that battle was crypto.com, which at the time was called Monaco, for anyone who remembers. Anyways, you're looking at 1, 4, and 12. All right. Interesting spread there. Really doesn't trade much here. Let me go to another exchange, maybe like Binance. Yeah, I'm a little bit better here, but you know, if I'm on a 12-hour, I'm just looking at this as my range lows here at about $1.83. As long as you're above there, I guess, you know, you can make some excuses for it. It's not the worst one in the short term, to be fair, but I just wouldn't call this like a major confirmed low as long as you're basically below. I don't know when the fuck I charted this one last. It must have been like way back on over here in August of last year, but it'd be the same area, 220, basically 229. Above there, I do look for short-term continuation at 260 and then very likely continuation towards $3. But for right now, you know, I give it the benefit of the doubt as long as you're above about a $1.81, a $1.82 on a daily closing basis. Short-term a bit more sideways. Maybe one more spike down to 190, but I am looking for bounces probably over the weekend. You know, can very easily come back up just above $2 to like 202 to 203 region. Other than that, I don't really have a strong opinion on this one. Very short term, like like on an hourly, probably looking for another try just around $2 or so. Hopefully that was helpful. What's up, AK Makar? Theta. Okay, let's see what sort of highly esteemed altcoins we have here. Theta, 4-hour daily. Gotcha. 4-hour probably has many drives of bearish divergence, and it does. So bit of sideways here. Might come back down somewhere around about 380 to 385 daily. It's right at the area where I'd start to be looking at like a major daily breakout. Not this one right here, but this one right here. That being 445. Any sort of a daily closure above there actually start to confirm this as a major low with targets up towards 530, maybe even $6 long term. Yeah, short term, I'm actually just looking for a range here. It's actually one of the better ones short term again, and very short term actually. On the hourly, I should be looking for one more try somewhere around 410 or so, but I'm not convinced that's going to be like your next major low. I'm just basing that off of hidden bullish evidence right here. Still though, I am looking for, you know, a bit of sideways, probably tries a little bit of a downside after that for a higher low, but actually look at this one as one of the better ones as long as you're above 370. So, I mean, even like 350 is fine on this one, but again, it's just, you know, am I going to be looking at this one as good if Bitcoin turns down? Probably not. So I'd probably be more aggressive on that at 370, calling some big downside if that were to be violated. Yol G says Zilliqua. Okay. He's been spamming this the whole day. Oh, people have been spamming this the whole day. Definitely one of the better charts we've seen, especially in the short term. Wow. Really, really powerful. I would be looking for pullbacks very fucking soon here. Whether, you know, we've kind of already seen it here at about 22.5 cents, or it gets up to 25 or 26 cents, just around these last prior macro highs. I would be looking for pullbacks there, but pullbacks very likely lead towards higher low and pullback targets after that region, probably somewhere between about 14.5 to 17 cents or so. Let's see, daily. Yeah, your hidden extremes here already. So I'm probably maybe one more push a little bit higher around that 25 to 26 cent target, but very likely a pullback to follow that. And then after the pullback happens, looking for a higher low between like 13 and 17 cents, I think it was. And that would be kind of the area that I'd be interested in. Not that this is financial advice, but yeah, 4 hours is probably one more try higher. So yeah, I do think it has one more try higher here before like a general pullback. Long term, pretty good though. Among the best charts, I think the only one that was better was Waves. Yeah, it was Waves. All right, Jesus is back. It says Coti. How the fuck do you say that? Coti, C-O-T-I. Okay, 4 hour daily. 4 hour, again, short term bouncy. Probably is another drive of hidden bullish evidence here, so probably tries back up somewhere around 28 to 29 cents. Daily, still operating on massively lower highs, but I'd refrain from getting like super bearish until you do close a daily dildo below about 25 cents. Below there, I look for this one to retest March lows. Until then, I think you got some hopium here. Hopium will be confirmed with like major continuation targets the upside above about 29.25 on a daily closing basis, with targets up towards 33 to 37 cents. But you know, again, this is like if you want to be bearish, this is like the place to be bearish from upon that validation below that region, because you got major hidden bearish evidence forming here on massively lower highs as well. Again, if I was just looking at this thing, I wouldn't like it, but you know, have to be looking at market analysis. So let's see, or I mean, long term, it's actually, I'm actually kind of surprised to see this long term. It's it does hold its macro higher lows very well. So got to give it the benefit of the doubt then, I suppose. Cool. Okay, Godzilla Mana for our in daily. Okay, so this is Decentraland. Okay. Holding up relatively well here. I mean, this is another 27. See, this is what you want to see from your 2017, 2018 shitcoins, right? It got well above its 2017 highs. I mean, look at the line chart or the linear chart. Like that's really, really good long term. Holds its macro higher lows. Anyways, you're on a daily and a weekly. Let's see, this chart was not made on a daily, I'm guessing, because that makes absolutely no fucking sense. So I'm guessing what we're looking at right here is your high side range breakout at 287.5. For the daily right here, I would actually start to get quite bearish on this one, targeting March lows with the daily closure below about 253, right around here. Basically the 200 simple right there. That would confirm hidden bearish evidence, also another lower high. And also daily jewelry turning down plus low volatility. I mean, that would not be a great signal. But long term, I'm inclined to give it the benefit of the doubt, just because it has been, you know, on the macro scale, like quite good. Let's go back here to the 5-day. I'm not getting anything interesting from that, nor am I on the monthly as well. So if I'm on the short-term timeframes, I think that you probably have another bounce here, maybe back up towards like 260 to 265. But I'm not calling any like major continuations here again until you're closing back up about 280 or so on a daily, about just above 280 or so. Hey, thanks for that, Just Blake. I appreciate that, man. Oh, okay. Ben is changing it from ZIL to XCAD. All right, let's see what XCAD has. Yeah, man, I gave an analysis on this one like a few days ago, and then like the XCAD people really didn't like it, even though I said probably does try higher here, which it did. Yeah, it did. It did actually try a little bit higher. They're good. And I think it actually probably does try again higher. Yeah, I actually think this one's going to try again somewhere right around 390. This is okay right here. Does not have hidden bullish evidence possible, but I do look at this as a low in the making. So short term, probably back up towards like 365, maybe even 380, somewhere around there. I do not get bearish on this thing, confirming this as like a major lower high until you close back down below specifically 295 on a daily. Until then, I actually think that this one probably does try higher over time. I would just be concerned with like macro lower highs anywhere below $5 long term. Until then, I actually do think that this one does try higher. Just be aware of where those invalidations are. And I would validate the next major move up towards, you know, around $5 with the daily closure above about 380. Yeah. Actually very likely does continue that rally. Cool. Let's see. Holland Lane says, take a look at SNX on the daily. Sure, Inzers. SNX. Okay. Synenthex. This was super popular last year and not so popular anymore because it's been doing this. But hey, it's getting its pity bounce around its macro lows, and I do think that it does continue up to like 785. And another chart that looks different than most other charts. This chart ain't like most other charts. Yeah, I do think that you try somewhere around there, but I would not confirm the next like major daily breakout until you're closing daily dildos above 720, kind of around the 200 simple here as well. That would be a range resolution and probably does target up into the deep $8 after that in the following weeks. So to kind of wrap up my thoughts on this one, very likely does try higher from here, but I would not confirm like a major breakout just yet. Do you think that you will pull back after that? And, you know, just on higher low watch, as long as you're above $6, where would I validate like a major bull trap, which I actually don't think it's happening on this one, but that'd be below 560. So until then, you know, pullbacks are just lower term timeframes, higher lows. And I do think that you have one more short-term time frame try to the upside, then very likely pull back. And then if you get a daily closure above 720, I'd be looking for the next, you know, decent leg up in the following week or two. Yeah, interesting one right there. Cool. Vince says Solana and ApeCoins. That sounds racist, man. Solana? Sure. Okay. Solana, yeah, another one that's actually operating better than most of the other ones. You know, if it does want to correct in the short term, I'd just be looking at about $1.11 to $1.12. 4 hour actually looks, it actually looks like a bit of sideways and then continuation. Yeah, I can't really, yeah, I actually think this one's okay here. Probably does pull back relatively soon, but as long as it's above 105 basically, I actually think okay. So again, kind of wrapping up my thoughts here. Sideways maybe tries one more high on this rally, but I do think that you pull back after that. I don't really have any pullback targets in mind, but I am actually looking at this one as good as long as you're above $1.05 long term. Weekly, okay, not really giving me too much. 5 day actually decent as well. To be honest, I'm probably looking towards 145 to 150. Yeah, in the following weeks. Short term though, getting ready for probably a short term pullback relatively soon. Yeah, I don't really have anything better to say about this thing as long as you're above about $1.05. I do think that you probably trade somewhere up around 140 to 150. ApeCoin, okay, that's a very questionable name for an altcoin here. Don't feel comfortable saying this one on YouTube, so if I give a bearish analysis on ApeCoin, that's just like, I don't know if I'm going to get away with that. I don't have an opinion on a daily or a weekly for something that's been around for, a couple weeks, certainly. Maybe there's another chart that has more, which honestly, no, it doesn't look like. I'd be looking for like a CoinX or some bullshit. In this case, short term, I do think that you're going to try back up towards like 13.25 to 13.5. Other than that, I have no opinion on the higher term timeframes. There's not really a daily here to look at. There's not really a weekly here to look at. I have no opinion. I really shouldn't even have an opinion on this chart to begin with. It's way too new. But if you put a gun in my head on the 4 hour, I'd say very likely a bounce here, somewhere around like mid $13, and then come back to it after that. I have no opinion other than that, man. All right, cool. Sweet. I think that is it for today. Nice. 1 hour 50 minutes into this. Holy shit. That was a longer stream than what it felt like. That's strange. All right. Well, cool. How is that racist? Don't make it racist. Well, you know what? I agree, sir. Cool. I think that is it. What's up, a priori? Good to see you, man. Another OG of the cave. One of the best short-term scalpers as well. Amazing, man. Amazing shit that he's done. Anyways, kind of just wrapping up my thoughts on Bitcoin. Short term, bit of sideways, probably tries for a bounce later today or over the weekend. But I don't really have anything super interesting to look at here as long as you're 1 below 46.5 or 2 above about 43.5 on a daily or 44.5 on a weekly, which, keep in mind that CME is closing its weekly today. So I think that's going to do it for today. Hopefully that was in some way helpful. I am going to be signing off now. Major thank you to our lovely moderator crew. I see Gucci Man is here. Holy shit. I'm your biggest fan, dude. Or at least I used to be your biggest fan. Now I'm not the biggest fan of Juicy J if we're talking about rappers. But hey, still pretty damn good, man. Still pretty damn good. And congratulations on your physique goals, man. You've done a really great job. No, he's a fucking inspiration. I love Gucci, man. He's amazing. Anyways, signing off now. I'm gonna be going for a lot of food and then and then relax the rest of the day because I'm just waiting for the easy setups at this point, man. So with that said, take care. It's been an absolute pleasure on this lovely Friday. Hope everyone's staying nice and safe, and we'll be back next week with some more live stream analysis and some more just regular video uploads over the weekend. Take care and see you soon.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, XR pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, pump it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick reload.